Okay, I think, can you see it now?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank to the organizers for giving me a chance to speak in this webinar. And it's my honor to give a talk about my beloved supervisor, Cem Tezer. Indeed, 15 minutes is not enough. It's less than enough to even introduce his colorful personality and his mathematical background and how he understands mathematics to the mathematical community. So this will be a really, how to say, short talk, introductory talk for those who does not know him. And it will be a memoriam talk for those who met with him. And I would like to say something in Turkish. Baki kalan gök kubbede hoş bir sadaymış. So Cem Tezer was a fastidious, meticulous, highly idiosyncratic and versatile scientist. Çok titizdi, müşkülpesentti, zor beğenirdi, nevi şahsına münhasır ve bir kişiydi, bir zattı. Without him, Turkish community of mathematics would be incomplete. Our sense of gratitude for his work in various areas of mathematics, history of sciences, literature, music, and his encouragement to do mathematics for only its beauty was hardly unique and even unusual. After he died on 27 February 2020, while working actively at Middle East Technical University, the number of colleagues and former students described the ways in which their studies and indeed their view towards mathematics had been transformed by having known him, might have surprised only those who had never met him. In this talk, not only his contributions to mathematics will be classified and summarized, but also his unique and distinguished personality as a mathematician will be emphasized. So, okay, this is a short life story of him. I would like to call it as introductory life story. You can find his article about his life called My Life in the web page of Ali Sinan Sertos, Bilkent University. So from his verse, you can learn about his life. Okay, he was born in Bilecik in 1955, and due to his work of his father, he traveled a lot in Anatolia. He started primary school in Amasya Mersin in 1960, and then he went to, they came to Ankara with his family, and he studied secondary school there, and they went to Elazığ. He loved Elazığ. Yeah, he told me a lot about those years. And they went back to Ankara again, and he finished high school in Ankara Atatürk Lisesi. And then, by the advice of his father, he started Istanbul Technical University Civil Engineering Faculty, but he decided to carry out mathematics. He loved mathematics and philosophy from childhood on. And then his father told him that do it this in the perfect place in Cambridge University, and he went to some language courses there, and then his bachelor degree is from Cambridge, and his PhD is from the University of Heidelberg. Generalized solenoids of the dancing type is the title of his PhD thesis. And then from 1984 to 2020, he was actively working in Middle East Technical University. Actually, at this stage of my talk, I would like to share the obituary notice written by his beloved friend and colleague, Professor Hurşit Önsiper. So, firstly, okay, I will try to introduce him with his words. Also, I share the ideas of Professor Önsiper, so I would like to put this part. So, he was an outstanding member of mathematical community in Turkey. So he was a scholar of amazing diversity, okay? He was a distinguished mathematician and a teacher with a remarkable energy and enthusiasm. In written expositions, numerous conference, seminar talks, and private discussions, he generously shared intriguing ideas, questions in math, history, literature, and music. So, as I told you before, his bachelor degree was from Cambridge University, 1976, and PhD was from Heidelberg University. So the influence on Cem Tezer, of which the rich cultural, historical, and academic heritage he observed in these two outstanding institutions, was the main source of inspiration in his academic and intellectual work. This influence led him to a principle which he employed at each stage of his mathematical research. Study only the classical works of the true masters of the field. I heard this sentence quite a lot from him while we were doing our PhD thesis. He was keen to avoid, so to say, reader-friendly mathematical expositions. He was also critical of fashionable techniques, most of which did fade away very rapidly without leading to any substantial progress. So he adored mathematics as a human endeavor. He did not try to comply with the dominating academic attitude formulated in the cliché, publish or perish. On contrary, his attitude was that of masters, few but thrive. His research articles spanned 4 basic fields, namely topological dynamics, differential geometry, mechanics, and the elementary geometry. And yeah, I agree with Professor Ansper that he liked elementary geometry. It was his favorite. He quite often emphasized the neatness, simplicity, and the beauty of the ideas and the techniques in elementary geometry. So the ideas, the methods, and the results in each and every research article of Cem Tezer deserve a careful investigation, which I also believe, and everyone believes, that will lead to further interesting research. Actually, he had a great interest in history of mathematics pertaining to the late Ottoman era, combining his deep mathematical insight with his competence in the language and the script in which these articles were written. Cem Tezer contributed significantly to the studies on the mathematics of that period. And on several occasions, he was invited to the Dil Tarih Coğrafya Fakültesi at Ankara University. So it's one of the leading departments of history in Turkey to teach graduate courses in the field. And literature and music were 2 other endeavors which fascinated Cem Tezer. His poems, most of them were in Turkish. I will share one of them, a few in English. And he has some unpublished articles on Turkish literature. He again preferred classical over the fashionable. And then he had a trilogy on 3 famous of the most influential and controversial Turkish poets, Yahya Kemal Beyatlı, Tevfik Fikret, and Mehmet Akif Ersoy. And I shared with him the same passion for music. I, as a student, and all the department members of METÜ still remember vividly the joy and the pleasure of listening to Cem Tezer rehearsing the prelude in the department, occasionally late in the afternoon after the lectures. So I share the apology of Professor Ansper. Okay, I know this talk falls short of reflecting the passion, the accomplishments of my dear supervisor, Cem Tezer. And if we listen to this talk, he would point out many shortcomings and most likely would say, okay, kağıt sabırlıdır, the paper is patient. Now I would like to share some pictures from him. This is the famous musician Erkan Or, and they are playing music. He is playing bandire, traditional music instrument, with those Ahmet Aydoğan and Erkan Or. And he's again with Erkan Or and Ercüment Ortaçgil, a famous respected mathematician, Ercüment Ortaçgil, actually the brother of famous musician and singer Bülent Ortaçgil. They were doing music together. Now I would like to share one of few poems in English from him. Chide me if you must. And look at this picture. Contrary to his appearances, he had a delicate soul. Okay, I am excited too much. If you ask me, I will share this part of the presentation, the poem. I don't want to read at the moment, actually. But this, if you read it, it describes his delicate soul, delicateness of his soul. Chide me if you must. Yeah. And I communicated with the supervisor of Professor Cem Tezer, Wolfgang Kriebel from University of Heidelberg. And he told me that, yeah, okay, the things that I knew, but I would like to share with you. His thesis, he published the results of his thesis, Solenoids of the Fan-Tensing type, in Israel Journal of Mathematics in 1987, under the title of The Shift on the Inverse Limit of a Covering Projection. And then his thesis provided the motivation and foundation for some of his later work, in particular for his papers in Quarterly Journal of Mathematics and Mathematisches Zeitschrift in 1999. And this is an important comment. Okay, Tezer's approach in these papers enabled others to obtain further results in this area. Under the heading of Smale spaces, the dynamics of solenoids as considered by Professor Tezer has become by now a prominent topic. Tezer's findings can be seen as an early contribution to this line of research. Now, I don't read those things, but I classified his publications. So those publications are his contributions to dynamical systems, algorithmic theory, and topology, and those two are closely related to his PhD thesis. This is, I like this paper a lot, shape classification of Klein-Bottle-like continuum. Okay, for those who would like to read, just look at mathematical reviews. Yeah, you can just easily find the articles there. And so this one is, it was the fruitful times on fixed points of dynamical systems, and then shift equivalence in homotopy, and then automorphism groups of class of expanding attractors, a technical note on weak shift equivalence, and recent geometric developments in the theory of anaxial diffeomorphisms. These are those articles took their spirit from his PhD thesis, mainly from his PhD thesis. Okay, and in 1911, in the similar spirit, we had we published a paper called "The Natural Occurrence of Shift Equivalence." Okay, together. He shared his excitement and his knowledge about this topic with me. And I'm grateful to him for sharing his knowledge. And let's come to differential geometry and classical mechanics. So in his paper in French, sur les transformations conformes de la sphère admettant une connexion invariante, conformal transformations of the sphere admitting an invariant connection, he has an outstanding result. He showed that a conformal transformation F of the standard sphere Sn for n different from 1, 3, and 7 admits an invariant connection if and only if it admits an invariant Riemannian metric. Also, it has a nice corollary. Since my time is limited, I skip fastly. So this is my PhD thesis. This is an article which came from my PhD thesis, conformal vector fields with respect to the stoichiometric tensor field. So we show that, let Tm be the tangent bundle of the Riemannian manifold Mg endowed with the stoichiometric capital G defined by the metric on the Riemannian manifold, small g. In this paper, we have shown that we characterize the conformal vector fields on the tangent bundle of dimension at least 3 with respect to the stoichiometric. We show that if Mg is a compact Riemannian manifold with dimension greater or equal than 2, 3, then a vector field A is conformal with respect to the stoichiometric if and only if A is a Killing vector field with respect to G. Now, this is a nice contribution by him and Tabarrok and Stiliano, not on conversation principles in classical mechanics. So they considered the existence of the momentum on Jacobi conversation laws in classical mechanics from the variational point of view. And okay, his contributions to geometry requires a separate, every work of him requires at least an hour-long speech. Okay, so you can read in Matematik Dünyası his works with Hüseyin Demir. Actually, Hüseyin Demir influenced him a lot. So these are many contributions to the elementary mathematics by him, collaborated by Hüseyin Demir. And he was very keen on publishing the questions asked by American Mathematical Monthly and Mathematical Magazine. Actually, while we are carrying our master's and PhD studies, he was asking questions, especially in topology, from American Mathematical Monthly as a take-home exam question. So together with Hüseyin Demir, he answered many questions asked there. And the last but the least, okay, this is from Başhoca İshak Efendi's Mecmuayı Ulûm-i Riyaziye. So Journal of Mathematical Sciences, or the Book of Mathematical Sciences. He was an expert on this area. So look at the equation. So I just share a part of it, do not describe the things. And I also would like to share his beautiful handwriting from elementary geometry. And okay, he was very happy to be in Çakılarası Mathematics Village together with Şahin Koçak. Yeah, dear Şahin Koçak. And this is the opening lecture carried by him. Yeah, Şahin Hoca is actually there. And then the mayor of Eskişehir is also there, listening carefully to him. And the last thing, okay, somehow I would like to show the last page, not the full screen somehow. Oh, somehow it doesn't work. So, okay, let me share it again. Sorry, I got too much excited. So, okay, I would like to, I guess this was a fairway sentence from his writings. Yeah, hissi kabilel vuku in Turkish we say. Budalanın önde gideni kendisinden daha zeki pek çok adam bulunabileceğini bir türlü anlamayan kişi değil midir? Bu gerçekten böyle. ne akil ne de bali olmadan, kemalin kendisini değil, yolunu bulamadan geldim, gidiyorum. And the last thing, I would like to share one of the lectures, just few minutes. Rest in peace. Ruhun şad olsun hocam.
So today I will talk about theorem of Menelaus. Menelaus, Greek mathematician, lived in the 1st century in Alexandria. It's a simple theorem. It's a theorem of a theorem with enormous applications, and all that, because in my opinion, it's one.
Let me show you the blackboard.
Okay. I mean, right. So that's the numerical relation. That's the numerical relation. Is exactly. So I can replace this object by xp to xc, yt to yc, yc.
I miss him. It was an emotional talk for me. I thank you for your patience. If you have any questions, I may answer. Or comments about him.
Professor Simsir, we are very grateful to you for this valuable presentation in memory of Professor Cem Tezer. And we all remember Professor Cem Tezer with love and respect from here. I would like to thank you once again, Professor Simsir.
I thank you, too.